going on, everybody? This is Clay from Tales of the Blade, and we are back with another episode of Gaming Nation presented to you by Fans Anonymous. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones and a rumor that happened recently about it being in another gaming format, aside from the one that we already know, which is the Telltale Games version. So tonight, of course, we got our usual panel, guys. We got Daryl, a.k.a. Mr. Inferno. What's going on, my brother?
What's up, guys? Hey, happy to be back on here. Let's do this.
And, of course, we got my man Dan, Mr. D-Bros himself. What's going on, Dan?
Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back like a bad habit. Let's go, Gaming Nation. It's about to be a good episode.
And without further ado, let's get started. First topic we're going to be looking at is what developer team should make this game. Now, of course, I just mentioned it, that Telltale Games is responsible for The Wolf Among Us and the Batman series, and, of course, Tales from the Borderlands, which is a phenomenal series. If you guys haven't tried it, go play that. It's amazing. They have a really interesting style, but what other developers do we think that have run the gaming industry to this point do we think would be the best choice for another gaming adaptation of Game of Thrones? Daryl, what are you feeling?
I mean, I have to go with CD Projekt Red. What they did with the Witcher series, I mean, is phenomenal. I mean, I never read the book before, but just playing the Witcher game, I mean, I actually want to go back and read the book. I mean, from the style of gameplay in the Witcher series, I mean, from the story art, I mean, the graphics, I mean, the Witcher is just so beautiful. So I think CD Projekt Red would do a great job with this game.
You know what? And I have to agree. I really think that given the style or genre of Game of Thrones itself, being such a heavy novel-based, story-driven game, I think that kind of cinematic action would definitely complement it really, really well. Dan, how about you, my friend?
Okay, I'm going to call in an audible. We're changing it up, guys. I think it would be really weird, but kind of an open universe of craziness. I think, let's go big boys. Let's rock it out. Let's go with Rockstar. Now, do I think they could actually pick this up? Probably not, but we're taking guesses here. We're stabbing in what I want an open world of this game that is just ridiculous. Give me a little GTA-style action. Give me that in Game of Thrones. Every fan would buy that instantly. If Rockstar was on that with Game of Thrones, what? Shock the nation. That's what I think. What do you think, Clay?
Hold on. Okay, let me jump in. I mean, that's weird for Rockstar, but I mean, I went to the past Rockstar, but that's I'm a loss of words. So go ahead, Clay.
Dude, I can't even right now. What is the Grand Theft Auto style? Like, oh my God, like just pull over like on your horse or your horse or on a carriage.
Yes.
On the side of the street, there's like gold just falling out of them. Oh my God.
I would have never thought about Rockstar. I mean, that was not even in my head. For all the developers out there, Rockstar, that was not even in my head. That's a good one, Dan. But you know what? Rockstar makes a great game. Okay?
Yes.
I mean, we can laugh all we want, but Rockstar takes their time with their games. They make sure they don't put out anything trash. Just like what we said with Red Dead Redemption. Okay, they knew it wasn't ready. It wasn't ready, so we're not going to put it out there. So if Rockstar did get this game, they're going to take their time with it. So, I mean, yeah, you might get a little GTA, a little Red Dead Redemption in Game of Thrones, but hey, that would be interesting to see. That would be good. That was a good one, Dan.
It would just be so ridiculous that I think people would buy it, and it'd be one of those fan cults that even if, like, the Game Informer things gave it, like, a 5 out of 10, people would still buy it because it's a GTA-style Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it would be open world. It would be, you traveling around, the different kingdoms and just getting all these different side quests, and it would be that kind of open world and interactive, over the top, but like you guys said, polished game. You know what? I'm going to have to side with you on that. I think Rockstar, it would be completely out of left field for them to do it, but I think that would make for a really cool game. unless they were going for like the super cinematic, hardcore, and serious that Game of Thrones seems to want to pull from. In which case, I think even a style like Bethesda can pump out. Like with the Elder Scrolls, something a little bit more story-driven, something a little bit more engaging and a little bit darker to that aspect. But I think that game, that the Rockstar bit would absolutely just kind of be an interesting way to go. Another one. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, speaking of Bethesda, the rumor leaked that Bethesda was doing it. I mean, I was excited. I mean, Bethesda with the Skyrims, with the Fallout, I mean, Dishonored. I mean, Bethesda makes some great games, and that was a great idea to have Bethesda, as a great team. But at the same time, I was a little upset because if Bethesda was working on this game, that means it's a long time we got to wait for Elder Scrolls 6. So, I mean, I was, like, happy and sad at the same time when I first heard that rumor because, like, Bethesda does do great games, but a game like, Game of Thrones would take so much time and effort that all their other titles would have to be put on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. Actually, while we're on the subject, I actually want to throw this out there and see what you guys think. Are you familiar with BioWare stuff, specifically with their work with games like Dragon Age?
Yeah, I played Dragon Age. That's the only thing I played from BioWare.
So with a game like that, where you got like a lot of decisions to make, especially like if you're looking at the format they use in Mass Effect, do you think that would actually be another good viable option for BioWare to pick that one up?
I think actually that might work because especially with their style, because you have multiple characters that you in control of, and in Game of Thrones we see multiple characters each time. I mean, we always see one story, but we're seeing Daenerys' story, we're seeing Jon's story, we're seeing Cersei's story, we're seeing Joffrey's story. I mean, the Helm. So we constantly seeing different stories throughout Game of Thrones, and actually that's a great idea. I mean, for BioWare with the Dragon Age stuff. So that's a great idea also.
Dan, how about you? I think that is an excellent idea. I think it'd be very cool to break down storyline to storyline from each character. I think it would give it a unique experience, especially for the fans that have watched this show and watched every episode and just watched the season finale, to kind of break down and maybe, give the fans a little bit of some inner stories behind these characters that we never heard before.
I think so too. I think seeing it on a story-to-story basis would be really interesting. Of course, some of their stories would just kind of drop off like Joffrey out a window. I'm just going to add the burn bit in there. But anyway, so going on. So do we think these games should be based more on the books or take a little bit more liberty with direction like the TV show? Daryl, what do you think about that?
Well, okay, I think the same thing is like what's going on now between the comic books and the movies, and then you guys even go on the cartoon shows. I really think they should start stuff based off what's popular. Okay, let's say if you want to make a movie, if the cartoon is more popular than the comic book, make this movie about the cartoon. So, like, let's take this for instance. Okay, if the TV show is more popular than the book, I mean, you got to go with the fans want. If the fans fell in love with these characters based off the TV show, you want to make a game based off the TV show so they will fall in love with those characters. Now, if they want to go out of the way and make an origin story, I mean, I'm okay with that also, but as long as they don't disrespect those characters. Meaning, let's say they made a story about, let's say, The Witcher. They made a movie about The Witcher. Now, I mean, there's no disrespect to anybody who's listening to the show. But if they made a show about The Witcher, I think they should have maybe a white guy playing, Geralt, not a black guy. I feel like that would be wrong, okay? Or having a woman playing Geralt. So that's what I feel like. If they're going to make an origin story, just stick to the characters, that we already have. Now, or like how you said what your question is, I think it should be the more popular story. What do you think, Dan?
I do agree. I think they need to pick a story and stick to it in a sense. And you know, like we were talking before, if you did get to do some storylines or something, you could throw certain things that are from the book, but you can't just go a completely alternate universe to it either, you know. There and it would be cool to have like a spin-off that was just about, you know, like an alternate universe or something, you know, a backstory to a certain character. But you know, if we're doing a video game about this certain story, we don't want to put it too much off of what we're trying to do, or I think you will confuse the fans. And you know, the thing about the game is, like, any cult fan base that really likes their show is they know the show and they will know the difference. If you go look and like, see, I'm a big superhero fan, and all the time I'd be catching some stuff like, okay, well, where was this from? Was this from the comics? Is this just new? You know, like we always do it with everything we like. So, you know, the fans will eat that up if they do it wrong.
Exactly. I mean, I feel the same way. It's just like when I watched the Resident Evil movies. I mean, the Resident Evil movies are nothing like the game. I mean, I don't know where Alex came from. Every Resident Evil game I ever played is, you know, Alex is not in there. Which, I mean, I like the movies. Now, I would love to see, like, a video game based off of Alex's story. But I would love to see a movie actually based off the game, having Chris' story, having Leon's story. You know, if you're going to make an origin story, I mean, let us know what you're doing, you know. So I feel exactly what you're saying.
And yeah, you guys are definitely right about that. And they really got to tread lightly on something like this because, of course, the Game of Thrones storyline or the Song of Ice and Fire, from all the way back in its inception days when George R.R. Martin started getting these books out, it's been such a huge. It has such a huge following, and a lot of fans are really deep and hardcore into it. I remember when there was actually a card game that was based off of it. It goes so far back and is so ingrained into what we would consider nerd culture. And to bring about a game adaptation to it, the story would have to be similar, if not completely on point, or the fans would just rip it apart and they'd just drop it and be like, no, I can't deal with that, because that's how diehard people really get about those things. Like you were saying with Resident Evil, I know that it's really more of like a Sharknado almost cult following. That's just how bad the movie's got, to the point where it's like they have just such a small fan base where it's people that watch it from the beginning or just kind of hanging on until the very end. I know I just recently finished those movies off, and the last two, it felt like they were going somewhere with it, and they're like, oh, no, change direction, go this way, and it just completely ran off the cliff, and it was kind of ridiculous. So
exactly.
Only advice that we could really say there, tread lightly. Because if you mess it up, you're just going to be held to pay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be like a hit or miss. I mean, definitely it would be a hit or miss. I mean, if you're going to make an origin story, you got to know what you're doing. You really, really got to know what you're doing. But me, I always say, like, go with the more popular. Just go with the popular story. Okay?
We're going to be looking at the style of gameplay we're going to be looking at. So, of course, we already covered a little bit of that with what developers, because each developer has their own style that they really like to stick to. It's kind of their niche they like to be in. But what style of gameplay, what genre of gameplay would really, really complement the story for Game of Thrones? Daryl, we'll start with you.
Well, I guess I got to go with the developer I chose. I mean, I like that Witcher style. Okay, that hack and slash, you know, the fast pace. I mean, that's what I would like from this game. I mean, they got a couple of spells in The Witcher, but you know, they don't have to use spells. But I think I want more of that style, you know, so it can be fast pace. It's not too slow, it's not too fast. It's like in between. And then it's like, you know, with The Witcher, you got to think about it. Each decision you make can change your whole gameplay. So now I get to take control of my character, and I get to decide. I get to decide if I want to murder, you know, the king of the north. I get to decide, do I want to murder, you know, the queen, the king. I mean, and it's going to change my whole game. You know, all the decisions I get to make. So I think that's the style I want. I can't say what style it is, but I just say the CD Projekt Red style.
Now, I just want to jump in and I want to interject a little bit right there because you just talked about, how every decision you make in the game affects, the course of the game. And of course, when we talked about, actually, I don't want to go back too much with this, but I just want to focus on this for just a second. But when you think about storyline, whether it's based on the book or the TV show, you don't want to railroad the players either. We've seen a lot of games give people the option to really push the game in the direction they want to go instead of the direction that the game wants it to go. It's called railroading. So when you see something like that, when you think about something like that, that kind of actually drives us back to the previous question of should it be based on the books or TV show, and actually kind of shows that we wanted to go in its own direction, but staying as close as it can to the story, but having variable options. Is that what about what you're saying?
Exactly. I mean, because I don't know why. Because I'm thinking about this, right? Okay, let's say if spoiler warning for those who haven't got that far. Spoiler warning. Let's say Joffrey did not murder Ned Stark. How would that have changed the whole movie? How would that have changed? What would happen right now? Where would we be at right now if Ned Stark survived?
That would be.
I want to see that. I would love to see that.
Yeah, so different. Wow. Dan, how about you, man?
Okay. For gameplay, I really want to see an epic, part action, part fighting style, but not just all fighting. But when when you go to attack somebody, I just don't want to see some stupid you hit A and knock them out or something. I want to be able to fight you like a Prince of Persia, like an Arkham Asylum. I want to be able to actually get at you, take you down in multiple ways, but then I want, like you guys were talking about, I want some type of storytelling method with it too, where we can make our own decisions. So I don't know if that means just a small, an RPG type S to it, but it would be awesome to pick your characters, your own little teams. I don't know if you could add some type of do you remember the old X-Men Legends games where you got to ride with a bunch of people at the same time, a bunch of fighters, and roll around and do stuff? Maybe something like that. But don't take away from the story, though. I don't care exactly how the fighting is as long as it's good and we can do it, but I really want the storyline and the decision-making to be different than any other video game, because this is Game of Thrones, man. The ideas are endless. We could sit here and have a whole episode about how we want the gameplay to be. I just want it to be smooth, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Actually, we were musing on this before the show, how interesting it would be, in a comical sense anyway, if it were actually like a Musou game, like Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors or One Piece Pirate. All the Warriors games that were done by Team Ninja and W Force. If they got on there, how interesting would it be to see Khal Drogo just run up and just mac just 3 battalions of dudes, just swing, just blah, and just knock them off.
Oh my gosh.
It just sounds like, with everything we want, just the budget's going to be really, really high on this game.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, as you saying that, and I'm thinking about, we on Assassin's Creed Black Flag, how they had the, what's the word I'm looking for? The massive sea battles,
Yeah.
What if we had something like that with the Greyjoys, So they got the naval army, okay? What if we had something like that? Oh, my God, I'm just thinking about so much stuff that they can do with this game.
Something a little bit a little bit more of a cinematic battle. Yeah, that would be. Even like For Honor gameplay. Where
oh my God, yeah.
It's tactical. Everything you have to think about. Do I dodge left? Do I hit high? Do I hit mid? Do I block? What do I do? Do I parry? It's got to be in the moment, updated, keeps you on your toes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I mean, basically what we're saying is whoever, if they do make this game, they're going to have a hard job. They're going to have a tough job to do.
I would like to see just a bunch of different companies get together and do like a game jam, just where they do like some segment of Game of Thrones and then just kind of mash it together in one game where we have all these different play styles and just sample everything. That'd be really interesting, I think.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'll buy it. I mean, like you said, if they had the samurai, they had those out, with Drago, okay, and we had the massive sea battles with the Greyjoys. I mean, if we had the For Honor and okay, when you in an arena style, you find like they can do it, okay, they can actually do this, but it would just take a lot of teams coming together and working together for this game.
Definitely think so. But, of course, let's be realistic. This is Game of Thrones, and I think you'd see you have died or this person has died a little bit more than we've seen in maybe like a Dark Souls game. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us tonight. We thank you guys so much for joining us for this segment. And so we're going to go around, and, of course, we're going to let you know who our panel is. Or, Daryl, we'll start with you.
Inferno, you can catch me on the Inferno Share Play, and you can catch me on Family Anonymous group channel.
Dan, where can we find you, buddy?
You can find me on Facebook, dbroz-dbroz. Then you can also find me at the Fan Club on Facebook or on YouTube at the Fan Club. Thanks a lot, guys.
And, of course, I'm Clay from Tales of the Blade. You can find us on youtube.com/Tales of the Blade. But this is a Fandoms Anonymous show. And, ladies and gentlemen, we are Fandoms Anonymous. That's FANDOMSANONYMOUS. We're all over social media. You can find us on Twitter at anonymous_fan17 and all of our wonderful social media platforms you'll probably see right here. So thank you so much for joining us. And as we always say, if there's anything else, thanks for watching and have a good one.
Fandoms Anonymous.